What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Who's Reality Cooking podcast. I'm so excited to have Juan from School of Chocolate here with me, the winner. Yay! Hey, Juan, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on the podcast. This is so much fun, and I watched School of Chocolate 2 times all the way through. It
Oh,
was
good.
such a great show, and anyone who hasn't seen it, I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah, I
So,
completely agree.
could you tell me, what were you doing before, and then kinda what prompted you to join the show?
Yeah, so I mean, when we got into the show, when I started whole casting for the show, it was kind of like crazy because, as you guys know, we were during a pandemic. Like that was when the fresh of the pandemic. So that time, that was I started casting in March, but prior to that, that's when I lost my job. I was executive pastry chef at Virgin Hotels, and then I lost my job on November. So then I just started working from home, like everybody else. And then in March, I got an email. I got a message on Instagram saying that, hey, we're casting for people for X show. We didn't know anything about it. I didn't know if it was going to be for Netflix. I didn't know it was going to be with Amari Gushan. I didn't know it would. I just know it was a pastry show. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. Why not? Let's just go for it. So I started this casting, and it was a long, long casting. And it was like really intense. Like when I'm telling you that I be at my house or I be outside and they will call you and tell you, I need you to send me a video of you doing a dessert. And I'm like, I'm not at my house. And they're like, I need you to send me a video of you making a dessert. So you're like rushing back. But I think it was a really, really fun experience. And I remember there was a blank time that we didn't know anything about it because they were still doing castings. And then I thought I didn't make it until one day I just got the call.
Wow, so what did you make at home for that dessert that they wanted you to film?
Oh, I don't even remember because we had to make so many desserts. I remember we have to make chocolates. I have to make plated dessert. I have to make a showpiece. Um, I remember. So this is really funny. I was at the beach with my friends, and then they called me, and then I was like, I had to rush back home, and I didn't have anything at my house, really nothing to make a dessert. So I went to Walgreens, and then I bought ice cream, cake. I bought like different components and then just make out of that. I pretty much ended up making like a chopped episode in my own home in that little time that I had to make this video just in that same day. So it was pretty fun.
Wow, they need to do a chopped dessert version, they really do. That would be amazing.
They did.
They
They
did, and I
actually
haven't
had.
seen it? Oh
Yes,
gosh.
it's called Trust Me, which I actually was on season 2.
Oh, see, I had no idea. Tell me about that. Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry to know.
No, it's okay. And they did a season called Chop Suites, and I was on season 2, episode 7, called Deadly Delicacies, Deadly something, which we were using like deadly ingredients or ingredients that can kill you.
Oh boy.
It was really fun, and I also won.
Oh my gosh. Wow, we have a two-time winner here and I didn't even know. We're not worthy. We're not
Yeah.
worthy. Wow, that's so amazing. So
Yeah.
you had to wait a while. You finally find out that you got chosen for School of Chocolate. And what was it like when you arrived? Where were you guys filming at? And did you know anyone when you got there?
Yeah, so it was so fast because I remember getting the call. I'm never gonna forget that. I got the call and they're like, "Hi Juan, how are you? Um, we're from the show. We just need to get your documents, your ID, your passport, so we can book your trip to LA." And I'm like, hello? Like, what do you mean? They're like, "Oh yeah, you made it to the show." And I was like, "Excuse me?" So they start completely the wrong way, and then I was like the typical drop the phone, start crying, start screaming, jumping on the bed. And they're like, "Yeah, you fly next week," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I had 1 week to quarantine at my house. I was not allowed to. I mean, that was the thing. They were not allowed, and of course, I didn't get out of the house. My partner at that time, he was so annoyed at me because I was like, let's go out. I was like, no, 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 no. I cannot get the chance of getting COVID at this time. And you're not also going anywhere. You're staying with me. You're quarantined with me. We bordered in. So, and then so I quarantined for 1 week, and then we arrived. We flew to LA. That's where we filmed. And after that, I would quarantine 1 more week in our rooms. So each one has their own room. We were not allowed to like see anybody, talk to anybody. And then we arrived the first day of filming, where they told us everything, and that's when we kind of like meet everyone. And then that's when they told us that the show was going to be for Netflix. It was going to be for Amaury Gushon. We found out everything the day off. And yeah, I didn't know anybody. I think I only knew one person, but we only took a class together. But it wasn't like I know her. We took a class, like a chocolate class before. And it was really fun just to kind of like, oh my God, they're here.
Who was it that you had kind of known?
Amanda.
Okay.
But yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So fun.
Wow. So you get there, you didn't know anyone, you didn't even know you were going to be on Netflix. That's the second time that I've heard that Netflix has done that. I've been interviewing people from Is It Cake, and they did that to season 1 as well. They had no idea it was for Netflix, so they're a little sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the moment that you know that it's from Netflix, your excitement just goes a little bit more higher. So I appreciate that they're telling me that it was not from Netflix, because I am the worst keeping secrets. I'm just so bad at that, and I'm like, otherwise I will tell everybody, and then my chances to get in there, I will be even sued before I even get into the show. So I'm glad I didn't say anything.
Were you, once you found out it was for Netflix, were you able to tell friends and family back home?
No, we were not allowed to tell anything. We were, of course, we have to sign an NDA for the show to make sure that like the secret stays in, because we don't want to ruin it for everybody, including for our family. I only told my dad, of course. He had to sign also like a release stuff. Because they also tried to like, there was moments that they were like call him to kind of like, they were trying to make it really like emotional as well, like connect with your family. So we had moments that they will film us talking with our parents or with our best friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, I loved those moments. That kind of brought it all together. And I loved how you were talking about your mom. And I do have a question about, how your family felt about all of this, but as someone who's also lost her mom and done something similar to this, I am 100% sure that she is just watching you and just so proud of you and just
so
loving.
much.
So I'll go ahead and skip to that question, because you had mentioned that your family wanted you to be a doctor, and that they were disappointed that you went into dessert making and a chef. And how do they feel now that you've won these shows?
I mean, my dad, he feels like he's all proud. He always calls me, he's like, hey, by the way, someone just calls me and he said he saw you, or hey, by the way, someone just says that you're this and this and that. It's nice to see their excitement, but also it kind of like sucks the fact that you have to get there for them to really finally realize that that's what you wanted to be.
Yeah.
But you know what? Whatever the road was, it got me to the place, and they are in that place, and they're happy and proud. So I'm happy with that. But I hope that one day it changes in our culture to that it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what career you choose, it's about like doing it with passion, and that's the passion is what's gonna take you far away. Every career can be really difficult and challenging. I would say that. I mean, I've seen doctors that they're not successful, and that's why I told my dad, and I was like, it doesn't matter what career you take. Yes, some careers are gonna provide you a little bit more financial support. That's pretty true. But it's about doing the stuff that you're gonna be doing with love.
Absolutely. And now you're a doctor of pastry and a doctor of chocolate now.
It was really funny. That's what people say to me all the time. They're like, now you're the doctor of pastries, now you're the doctor of sweets, which is perfect, because at the end of the day, I always said that like when as a doctor, you are like, you play with your hands so much, you're like really using your hands, and that's what we do for pastry. It's a way of like transferring that energy to our hands and just creating amazing things. The difference from medicine is just you're healing people.
You did so many amazing creations on School of
Thank
Chocolate.
you.
What was your favorite one?
I mean, I gotta say though, everyone had a story. Everyone had something pretty similar. And one thing that I'm really sad that I didn't mention it a lot on the show is that most of my desserts were vegan. I know. I know. I know. So I was like, what? No, like you're taking away all like the fun stuff because like I was creating really crazy stuff that it's vegan and stuff that he was saying that it was delicious and it was vegan. And then that's what I wanted to show with this show. I was just like wanted to change the perception of people, how they think about plant-based desserts and plant-based food. Because I'm lactose intolerant. So that's one of the things I always done in my career to make sure that everybody feels welcome and thought of when you go to a restaurant instead of just giving them fruit or sorbet. So I was like really disappointed the fact that they didn't say any of that. But I will say, I mean, each one is my favorite in a certain extent. If I would talk flavor wise, my favorite was the cafe con leche, the last cake that I did. That was so good.
That one looked
Um,
amazing.
but I also liked the Milo, which was the first one with the perinola, the dreidel. That one was also
Yes.
really delicious. I really like that one. And the moon. I feel like the moon has a big part of my heart, like a big emotional part, because what it means, how it looked, and also the flavor was really good. So if I have to pick from the three of them, I will say the moon because I have a more emotional connection with that dessert than the other two.
It was so beautiful, and they
Thank
all
you.
looked so amazing, and I am so surprised that they didn't take the opportunity to mention that were they all vegan or just mostly vegan?
Just most of them, yeah.
So what did you use in place of milk? What did you use in place of eggs?
So I was using different components. I was some of them were using oatmeal. Um, I was using just different power like fibers, and I was playing with like textures and different ingredients, which was pretty cool and something that actually none of them actually saw before, including Chef Amaury. So he was actually really interested in how I was taking the vegan pastry to a different level.
Oh, that is just so neat. Now, what did the pantry look like there? Because they never really show us what you guys have available to you. What did that look like?
Put yourself as a 5-year-old kid in a candy store. That's pretty much how our pantry looked up there. It's just tons and tons of chocolate, all the cocoa bars that you can imagine, all the colors, all the ingredients that you can think of. It was just overwhelming because you're just like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I want this. But it was amazing.
Yeah, it was just I wish they had shown that piece as well as somebody who loves these kinds of shows, but I'm still in shock that they were mostly vegan, and I'm definitely going to be sharing that a lot when we do promote this podcast because I think people need to know that you can do all of these amazing things and keep them plant-based. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's what I do these days. I took advantage of like what the show gave me and started teaching plant
That's
based.
so great. That's so great. So I did want to ask you, you had the cutest sayings like jam it instead of the D word. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you because I think it made you you're already really lovable on screen. It made you even more lovable. So I wanted to ask you, did you not want to curse on television or do you not curse at all?
I have what my friends and what my like what people say about me is I have my oneisms.
I love that.
I create my own words. I create my own curses. I have my own curse words. I'm not gonna say I do curse sometimes, but I do create these words that they don't mean anything sometimes. German is hilarious, but I do create other stuff that people think like, what the hell are you saying? And I'm like, it is. But like people used to call it my one instance, and that's just one of those. And I just like I feel like it's like my quirky side comes out sometimes, most of the times. And it's just that's just what I do. But there was a moment that actually on the Hinge episode, it was pretty stressful. And then I was like cursing up the storm. And then I was like, I stopped myself, I was like, oh Janet, I can't believe I'm cursing this much. And I might be and then Daniel looked around and he goes, wow, you must be really stressed. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I am.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, that was so cute. And I think it made it really fun for some of the young viewers. I found that these dessert-based shows have a very large following by kids for obvious reasons because they're so playful
Yeah.
and fun. So yeah, you definitely there's been some jammets in my house since we watched with the kids.
Oh,
They're just
perfect. I'm glad. I won't make a shirt about it, but
you should. Please
I
make a shirt that
know.
says jam it on it. Yes. I love it. So another question I had was at one point I noticed that there was quite a lot of text on the blackboard. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask how much because it's called School of Chocolate
Mhm.
and how much of it was learning, how much of it was just competition? What were the
So I would say it was like a 50-50.
Okay.
The first each challenge always starts with a teaching technique. So when we go to the pastry challenge, we always start with that he's gonna show us a technique of how to do a specific technique. So the first challenge was how to create your own mold. That's what I did in trade role. So he teaches how to create our own mold. So that was the technique that he teaches us. And then the challenge was to create something as creating our own mold. The second one was how to make something realistic. So that's when he did the hamburger. And then he did the cheese. So he teaches a technique of making different gels. So there was always a technical component of the class, same as for the chocolate showpiece. He will also show us something, a technique for showpieces as well, and then we have to utilize that. So most of the stuff happens at the beginning, and then and then we go. But he will write and he will do some stuff on the board.
That's so great. And one thing I really genuinely loved about this show and I found so unique was when someone doesn't do well in a challenge, they don't get eliminated. They get more time
Yeah,
learning.
I think that was one of my favorite things on the show. Of course, we were all freaking out because we were like, is this gonna be like this the whole show, or is it gonna be like the first 3 episodes and they're gonna be like, actually, you guys are gonna be eliminating each other? But it was the fact that you didn't have like nobody got eliminated. It's just helped every one of us just to get better and better and better. And I always say that this show shows the real us. Like it shows us like we're capable of doing so much. I had never done what I did over there because in a normal life, in a normal world, like one, you don't have the time. Two, you don't want to fail, so you're not gonna use all that time to create something and then like because you're just the work. I didn't have the time to let's do all of that, and I also don't want to like I'm scared because you don't know. And then when I went there, I was like, you gotta do it. So figure it out. So it's like when I did a dolphin without even pictures. And I was like, wow. When I did so many things, I was like, I've never done this. I have technical experience with it, but it's not like I have tons and tons of experience. So for me, being able to kind of like be there every day is to every day was like showing me that I can do better and do more. And it was a personal learning experience for me as well. So that was fantastic.
Yeah, and you know what I noticed and he kept using the out of the box you got to look out of the box. What was it like working with a chef that just his mind works in a different way?
Um, it was so interesting. We always say that it's like what would Amari will do, like because you're right, his brain works in a completely different like gear. Like he is something different, and it's about we. At least I speak for myself. I needed to learn how he will think. So when I was doing something, I was like, how will he do that? Like how does he start from like he will grab one thing and then he just goes back from the beginning and then figure it out? And then that's how I started doing that. That's how when I don't know if you remember the episode of the dolphin when I was doing the first one that I did, and it looked like a flounder. It was so bad. But that's the thing. I didn't know what I was doing. I just jumped in it without knowing what I was doing. I just, you know what, I'm just gonna go with the flow and then figure it out. But something in me was telling me it was not wrong. It was not right. Until finally he came in and he goes, it's gonna break one. You don't have structure. You don't have a skeleton. You don't have anything. That's when I was like, it clicked right away. but
Wow.
you're in a competition, you're in a time period. So I was like, I cannot stop right now. I have to continue. And of course, it broke. But at that point, it showed me that okay, what do you what is the things that he will have done differently? And then he said skeleton. So then what I did was I grabbed the sketch of my dolphin that I was supposed to dive in, and then I'm like, okay, so that's the outside. I need to focus on the inside. So then I did the inside, and then that's how on the second time, so I did the dolphin twice. The first one, which was not a dolphin at all, it took me 6 hours. While the second one that I did that I finished, it was huge. It took me 4 hours.
Okay.
But
Wow. So
but that yes, it is a big like it was like how I needed to think how he will do.
I love that. I love how you said he kind of starts at the end and works his way back.
Yeah,
Is that kind of I love
I
that. And
think so. That's yeah, I think that's the best way because like especially with him because he does things that already existed. So when he does like they say like the tiger, there's a tiger already. So he needs to figure out how the tiger gets built. So I feel like he needs to see how the legs are built. So it's a lot of the part like a structural part, but also skeleton in a situation. How the bones are built inside so you can build that base around.
right, right. That's just so interesting. I love hearing how people are, like I said, thinking outside of the box and, challenging themselves to think in a
Yeah.
different way and that he inspired you to do that. And did you guys stay in contact after the show
Yeah,
or
we stay in contact after the show. I actually did a showpiece with him. I don't know if you ever saw it was a motorcycle. So we did the motorcycle together. I sketched it, and I was able to work with him side by side, and then build that huge, massive motorcycle, which was so fun.
oh man, can we see that like on Instagram? Where can we
Yeah,
see
yeah, it's on
that?
Instagram. Yeah, yeah.
Why don't you give us your Instagram handle now? I'll have you do it again at the end, but that way if somebody's listening, they can just pop on
No,
over and
no,
take a
of course.
look.
And you can definitely see all of these showpieces and items on my Instagram, which is pastry chef Juan. But Juan is my name, Juan. Because a
Gotcha.
lot of people were like, "Oh my God, you're so cocky. You're pastry chef Juan." I'm like, "No, it's Juan, Juan."
Well, but you did win, so if you wanna come up with the second one with the number 1, I think you've earned that right.
I mean,
Very cool. So what have you been doing after the show, and how
yeah.
did the show kind of propel your stardom and push your work and all of that?
So after the show, I became the executive pastry chef at Four Seasons, and I was a pastry chef for Four Seasons for over 2 years, and it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was such a great experience working for them and for the company. Now I'm the corporate pastry chef for Levis Entertainment, which is the restaurant group in Chicago. It's one of the biggest restaurant groups in the USA, which has taught me so much because now I have to start thinking a different way that I used to think before. Um, but I think that what the show gave me was just so much. I mean, I always say this as a pastry chef, as a chef, you become a leader, you become someone people will look for inspiration, and I always go to my kitchens in a way that I am there for my team. They're not there for me. I love when they're there for me, but my goal is for them to know that I'm there for them. I'm there for pushing them to make themselves better, to grow, and to have fun and to enjoy the kitchen, and to be an inspiration for them to be better and better and better every day. So before I was able to inspire my team, which I love, now I get to inspire so many people around the world, which is just insane to even think that. Insane to even think that people in Malaysia knows your name and they feel your story and they've been through what you've been through. People in Colombia, I remember the first time I went to Colombia, this girl comes to me and I'm a really like this. I'm really curved, like I'm really fun and stuff, and I'm also really open to people. And the first thing I always do, people are like so scared of me, and I just go, "Hi, how are you?" Just give them a hug. They don't even ask me. I just go right away for them. And I remember I hugged this girl to say hello, and she just hugged me back and start crying, saying that I it was so refreshing to see someone like me, that my story is she's going through the same, and she was by seeing what I did, she was able to tell her parents that look, he did it too. And look where he is. And he gave her the strength for her to also leave her career and join and do what she wanted to do, which is culinary. And I remember she was crying. And that was my first exposition, that's how you say it, like my first expo in
Okay.
Colombia.
Uh-huh.
And I was tons and tons of people. And of course, my family was going to be there. So my family all were proud in the front row, seeing people like calling my name and everything. And then when they saw this girl just crying, I look at this girl crying. I look at my family, they're crying. And I
Oh,
just start crying. So everybody's crying.
oh, I love it.
I
Oh,
think that's just it's just one of those things that one, it keeps me grounded. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning, the little fame gets in your head and you're like, oh, look at me, I'm this chef and people knows me, blah blah blah. And of course, but I always said that life has teach me life right away teach me that that's not who you are, and it put me back on the ground again. It's like, no, that's never have you been. I don't let this little stardom for right now just get who you are, because that's not the person that you are. Because I'm not gonna lie, there was moments I had my diva moments. um and life was like life. I was saying that it was my mom who got me like a, hey, snap out of it. um and then it's just, I always take this as just as a humble experience every time. Get to see these people, get to see these places, these schools. Like it's so, so amazing. I always, when I go and teach my classes, I don't, they always come to me saying they're so honored for me to be there. But I'm like, no, it's me, the one that is honored to be in your school teaching. The fact that you are taking the time to have me here, the one that you want me here, that means the world to me, because there are so many other chefs that you could have called and you called me. So that is always the world for me.
that's so beautiful. Where can people take classes from you? Where are you teaching at, or is it just
Yeah.
private?
No, so I teach all around. I have different classes all around, and right now I am going to Puebla in Mexico City. No, Mexico City, in Mexico. Puebla is like it's like around few minutes, an hour away from Mexico City. So I'm teaching a class there in April, but sadly that one is sold out already. But I'm teaching another one in Puerto Rico. I'm teaching another one in Cancun. I'm teaching one in Colombia. So I have different ones, which is it's really interesting. It's really fun, and I get the opportunity to do all of this, which is it's just amazing. Just getting to know people. I haven't been to Asia, which I really want to go and teach in Asia. That's one of my dreams. I really want to. I really want to teach in Japan and Korea and Indonesia. And it was funny because 2 years ago, apparently, I was trending on TikTok, which I didn't know. People just told me, "Hey, by the way, you're trending on TikTok," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Hey, you're trending on TikTok," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine."
Wow. Yeah, I have no doubt you're gonna make it to Japan. You're
I
definitely gonna
hope
be
so. I hope
teaching
so.
there.
I'm like keep trying to figure out where can I go so I can teach there.
That would just be amazing. I love that you're traveling all around and teaching, and I love the humbleness. You definitely have earned some diva moments, though. I'll definitely back you up on that. Um, yeah, that's just so great, and I love that you're teaching, and I love that you want to bring your knowledge to everyone. I feel like
Yeah.
that is humble and beautiful, and it's just it's this is going to be your legacy. You're teaching so many people how to do something that brings you so much joy.
Yes.
It's a blessing.
And that's the thing is like you couldn't say it better. It's like what I want to teach is what I want to do is I want to express and share that excitement and that love for pastry with everybody else. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy doing. You know, I go to classes and sometimes I'm gonna say something that is wrong or might be wrong for some people, but it's about us finding that really having them having fun and enjoying their time that they're doing and leaving that class in, that was so fun. And most of the classes are all cry. It's funny. I don't know why. I don't know why someone's crying there, but it's so cool. But that's what I love about. I don't want to go to a kitchen and I don't want to go to a class or to meet people, and they're so stressed and so scared of talking to me or talking to a chef because they think that we are serious and stuff, and they're not letting themselves be their real selves because they're just, oh, I don't want to this. I understand the respect part, but I don't want to be like, I don't want to like get him uncomfortable. I want people to feel comfortable with themselves. Whatever if they're gonna be like full of joy, whatever if they're gonna cry. That's what we are. We're people, and I want to share that with everybody, and I want people to also share that with me. And that's why I always allow in my classes. I want people to be themselves. Maybe that's why there's so much.
It's like a class and a therapy session at the same time.
It's
It's
so
so
funny
great.
because it is. I have my best friend. She became a manager, and she does therapy actually. So every time we go, she's also like doing like reading, like seeing how people are doing, but also it becomes like this really emotional, beautiful environment in these classes because people feel safe. And that's the main thing. When you feel safe, you're able to just really just relax and just take everything that you're getting. Otherwise, you're gonna be so stressed. You're gonna, I want to write everything. You're not paying attention because you're just so stressed in your own head. And I feel like that's the best things about my classes is that people just feel safe and they're just having fun and enjoying their time.
That's so great. That's so, so great. I did want to bring us back to the show a little bit and ask
Yes.
you about that last piece that you made.
Oh yes.
Remind us how many hours you got for the winning piece, and was that all consecutive, or did you break that up into
Yeah.
smaller
So
chunks?
that's the one, how we call it. That was, as if I remember, it was 16 hours.
Yeah,
Was it 16 hours? I don't
that
remember.
sounds
It was
right.
16 or 24. I think it was 16. And yeah, so it was, we started at the beginning and then we had lunch and then we continued.
Oh,
We
wow. So it
finished
was
pretty
all
late.
done in one day?
I don't, I'm trying to remember. I think so. I think so because I remember we finished so late that day. I might be wrong, but I do remember we finished really late that day.
I'm sure it was all one day
Because
then.
it was full. I'm trying to think if we, yeah, actually it was one day
Oh.
because we started and then we went to lunch and then we continued. And it was so fun and so stressful at the same time.
I found it really interesting how, as time went on, they would take your helpers away from you.
We actually knew about that.
You knew
Well,
about
wait,
that.
wait.
That's
This is the thing.
great.
Nobody told us about it, but we had the feeling. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, we knew that it was going to be me and Melissa at the end. So
Okay.
we knew something was gonna happen. I mean, after when we got eliminated for the first episode, the other episode, we knew that there's going to be something like that brought back. So we kind of like we were ready for it. We were
Okay.
not ready to be that soon, and we were not ready to be like in increments, but we knew there was something going on. But it also, I mean, it took us by surprise, especially for me, because I had to get rid of Tyrisha, which was my best friend on the show, and it was hard, really hard. But it was all done in just a lovely way. It was nothing malicious. It was just I needed to make sure that we continued the movement that we had, and at that point, Cedric was just in a more constant movement, and that's just I have to make a decision, which was sad, but she understood. And uh like I told them from the beginning, it was a one piece that we all did together. And one of the things that I hate that it didn't show is that if you see the rock, remember the rock that I did,
Yes.
that
Yes.
was the representation of the cave. Cavemans are big on family, right? Cavemans are always together, and they always make those drawings in the caves, right? And they always have their hands.
Yeah.
I had each one of us, as the moment that they were walking away, they were putting their hand in their cave. And I'm like, I can't believe you didn't show that, because that is such a pretty thing. It's like we were literally there, like we were one, and the piece was, it was an effort of everyone. And that's why I told them, no, this is our piece and we're gonna put our hands. I don't care if it doesn't look good, but that's the meaning of cavemen.
Yeah.
Cavemen, it's union, we're unified, so we have to survive, and I want that this on this piece. And then each one put their hands all around. It was just so pretty.
Oh, that is just now I'm gonna cry. I see how you do it. Oh, it's so sweet. And I did love all the camaraderie, and I loved how out of all of the shows that are cooking or baking competition, I feel like yours was the most family style, was the most kind and nurturing, and there was no back talking, and there was, I mean, of course it was a competition, but
Yeah.
you could feel that excitement and the love and the friendship. And
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it was a really fun show, and I said, like we said, like there was no elimination. So one, we were there every day together, so we get to love each other, and two, the people who is watching also get to see everyone how they really are. Because if you get eliminated the first day, you're not really gonna be able to see how this person really is. So I love the fact that they give us that chance for everyone to showcase their best. So that's really nice.
that is really cool. Well, I will definitely be talking about the plant-based aspect, and and the caveman hands, and all of the pieces that you wish that they had shown, because and that's what I want this show to be about, to give anyone who comes on the opportunity to share with everyone the pieces that maybe we missed, or
Yeah.
or explain something that hadn't been explained. Are you still in contact with anyone from the show, like on a regular basis?
I'm still in contact with Tyrisha, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are. Tyrisha and I, we actually really found together really well on the show as a workers and friendship. So we're still in contact. Besides that, everybody else is just the normal. When they something good happens to them, we of course congratulate them. But I think Tarisha is the only one that I will be like, hey, did you hear this? Or hey, blah, blah, or did you see this? Or send his pictures once in a while. Like we do definitely have a more connection. We definitely build a connection that is gonna be forever. Um, than in product than I did with everybody else.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you made a great friend there. I feel like that's kind of the constant across all of these shows, is you always walk away with at least just one lifelong friend.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
She's
cool.
pregnant, so I'm so
She
excited.
is.
Yeah,
Wow,
she is.
congratulations to her.
Yeah,
I think I did send her a message on Instagram. I haven't heard back. She's very, very busy. So
I'm next to her then.
so because you're such an inspiration, and because I know people will tune in to hear more about you, what words of advice or inspiration do you have to either anyone wanting to try out for one of these shows, or just wanting to do what you did and buck
Yeah,
the trend and do what you want to do, not what you're expected to do?
yeah. I feel like always the best thing that I can tell for someone who doesn't want to like go with a career that or the path that other people think is the best one is always about what's best for you. Like honestly, you have to follow really your heart. I know it sounds like, oh, everybody says the same thing, but it's actually true. You really have to follow what you really love. I always said this to myself. Would I have been a good doctor? Yeah. I know I could have been a great doctor. Would I be happy doing that? No. And it's about really finding what's gonna motivate you to wake up every day and be like, I love doing this. Even people ask me, what do you do when you're stressed? I cook. It's the love that I have for what I do. It's what makes me getting up every day. And I feel like that's the best thing that you can have, the best feeling that when you do something with love and with passion, that's gonna be the best motivation for you to even get better every day. So never be scared. Never be scared. Life is not gonna be easy. This is not an easy path. It's not an easy career, but nobody's saying that it's impossible because it's possible. It's all about you. Um, and for those ones who are scared of doing a show, do it. the worst thing can happen is that you get eliminated. And that's just part of it. There's nothing wrong with getting eliminated. Trust me, a show, it is completely different from real life. Yes, they're showing something in the TV, but you have to do something in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, at a really specific time. Even if you get eliminated, you're still learning so much and you're still making you a better professional. So I always recommend people never be scared of shows, because it actually shows you a different side of you that you didn't know that you had in you. So I always think, and never go with the thing of like, oh, but I'm not getting eliminated or I'm not good enough, because you're always good enough. The moment that you put yourself in that path that's when you're gonna really find those rocks. It is literally, how do you get away from those rocks for you to clear out your path and then continue going? I think that's always the best way of saying it, of doing it. And then just don't be scared, just have fun. It's food. We're not saving lives. It's just food. So just have fun. Trust me, the moment that you have fun, the moment that things will go more naturally.
100%. I think that's so great. Where can everyone watch you? Because I know you've done more than one show.
Yeah.
If somebody's listening and they're like, wow, I got to check this guy out, where can we watch you at?
Yeah, so you can watch me on Netflix at School of Chocolate, for sure. It's a really fun show. Actually, I was watching it yesterday. But I also was on Chop Suites season 2, episode 7. Really fun episode to watch because we had to use deadly ingredients. Which one of them was a tarantula. So yeah, it's really funny. So if you thought I was funny at School of Chocolate, then you should definitely watch Chop Suites, because I'm arachnophobic. So when they give me this tarantula, it's very funny.
Oh man, will you come back on the show after I watch that episode so we can
Yes, of
talk about that?
course, anytime.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And then just catch me on my Instagram. And then I'm always trying to post as much as there. I've been a little bit off of my on the grid of Instagram because I'm trying to give myself a little bit relaxation. But I'm trying to. But cool news is that my book is coming out pretty soon. So you're gonna be able to learn a lot about techniques. Mostly, it's gonna be a really interesting book because I'm combining who I am as like what you guys are seeing over here with pastry. So when people read the book and when people see the recipes, it's me being there, me telling stories, me saying something funny on the book. So that's what I really want. I want it to be a really interesting, beautiful book, but also with stories and how did I create this and how got to that part, and a lot of theory, because I want to make sure that people also understand how things work. So that's how
Can we pre-order the book now? Is it available for pre-order?
the book is not available pre-order now because it's still in editing mode.
Gotcha.
But it will be coming out this year. So I'm really, really excited for that.
Awesome. Well, how about we have you come back on the podcast? We'll talk about Chopped when the book comes out so we can promote the book too.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. I can't wait to read it. I love cookbooks. I have a very large collection. So
Me too. I always say that I'm a horror of books. And it's really difficult when you move because my books weigh more than my couch.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm the same way. I have more boxes of books than boxes of anything else. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite cookbook or a favorite pastry book?
Oof, it all depends. I'm a geek, so I'm more into like the understanding of the ingredients. So I love this one called How Pastry Works or How Baking Works. It's fantastic. In terms of chocolate, there's one called Chocolate by Ramon Morato. It's one of the most amazing books you can have.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for the recommendations. I cannot wait to get your book in my hands.
Thank
Is
you.
there anything else you want to plug right now? Anything that you're doing that you want to share with everyone?
I mean, just stay tuned because there's just so much coming up. There's more news coming up soon that I'm not allowed to say yet.
Okay.
But really cool year happening right now with a lot of projects and really excited for those. If you're in Chicago, please stop by any of our restaurants where we have my desserts that I put, like at Mira de San Regis or Tredita, which we have one of the best tiramisu's in Chicago. I would say the best. It is fantastic. Nero, we have amazing desserts as well, and you can also stop at several of our restaurants for Let Us Entertain You, which they have amazing dessert programs as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sparing some of your very valuable time, Juan. It's been
No,
so
thank
much fun
you.
chatting with you.
No, this is amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast, and it was so fun just talking back about the show, bring you back the memories. Um, I mean, there's still so much that we didn't talk. And I feel like we should have another one because
I
there's
think
still
we
a lot
should.
of topics that we didn't talk from that happened on the show that I'm sure people are gonna be really interesting about.
Oh.
Um,
Do you want to drop a little teaser? A
I
little.
mean, I always say people always ask me about how I feel when I got eliminated. Um, People ask me how was working with Daniel. Was there any other showpieces that they were never showed? There's some stuff out there that we can.
Oh, okay. Well, I say when the book comes out, you come back on, we have another little chat session and we promote your book because I can't
Yeah,
wait to get a copy of it in my hands.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juan. And everyone, please check Juan out. I will make sure to put all of his information in the show notes. So if you don't have a pen with you yet, don't worry. And be sure to check out the next episode of Who's Reality Cooking.
Thank you
Thanks
so.
again, Juan.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.